Hello and welcome to Project Home DIY. My name is Christine Gloth, the owner, founder, and curator of Project Home. Thanks for joining us this month when we get to seize the door. So we're going to take over the door decor and bring in this interchangeable decor, interchangeable wreath to your door. So I'm excited about this project. Love the look of it so far. Excited to see where this goes in the future too. So that's a little hint if you can figure it out. But with that being said, pretty easy, simple project. Again, keeping that kind of theme going because I really want to give you guys time in the month to be able to complete these and make space and make time in your life to be able to be creative and get this going. So I'm trying to make sure that we plan projects that can enable you to do that in your life. So way to go for making time to get this out. It's good therapy. It's great for you. You'll feel successful and your door will look wonderful afterwards as well. So I want to mention door several times, but this would also be an awesome mantelpiece or even just a sign up on the wall. Interchangeable, like you can do so many things. So just keep that in mind when you are creating for this. It is not just for the door, but this back, like, come on. I mean, I know when we make wreaths and like we focus on the front of the wreath and then we hang it on our door and close the door and then we're like, oh, the ugly part's showing. So I really wanted to bring in a piece that you don't have to finish that just kind of showcases the back of your door decor. So this sucker is heavy, if you haven't noticed already. But to get started, set your floral to the side, the paper to the side. Very, very first thing in your project is to attach the wood pieces, which yours probably came attached. Attach the wood pieces to the magnets. Magnets are polarized, so they go a certain direction. If you have a board on upside down, stuff is not gonna line up correctly on your board. So make sure that when you attach these, they are attaching correctly and don't put things on upside down. So very first thing, attach your wood pieces and maybe even I put an arrow on each of the pieces so I know this is the top. So I might even take it a step further and on the back, because I'll paint the front, I'm going to write top. So I'll know when I'm putting on my floral, or we don't want the welcome word upside down. So make sure that you write top on those and they will attach to those magnets like they are supposed to. If you attach them wrong, there's a chance that they could not polarize in the correct direction and your wood could be crooked on the board. So enough about that. First, we're gonna start though with attaching the paper to this middle piece. So this is the paper. It's fitted to fit this piece exactly. And there is a direction on this, but that's the very first thing we're going to do. Now, you are going to need there's sometimes where we don't include everything in the box, like household glue. You're gonna need glue or Mod Podge. Most crafters have extensive amounts of this Mod Podge or any kind of Elmer's glue. So that's what we're going to use to attach this paper. Before we glue that paper down, I wanna take our sanding block that's in your starter kit and rough up the back side of that paper. So you'll see it is glossy. We don't want that. So rough it up a little bit, all four directions. It's best like to go away from yourself and you can kind of sand down the whole thing. But just kind of get rid of that glossy look a little. Yep, looks good. So sand it up just a little bit. Then with the Mod Podge, or glue, or Elmer's glue, anything you have, this one is really old. I need to toss it like I just did because it is way too thick. So Again, paying attention to your top marks. This is my top, I do know that. There is a direction on this because there are words. So I'm gonna make sure I want that on the top. When you're decoupaging, which you can attach paper to any kind of wood, it's important to not use too much glue. Too much moisture behind there is gonna make it lift up and bubble. We don't want that. I used one dab of the paintbrush in there, and I'm going to make it get all the way across. So when I'm dragging my paintbrush, I don't want to drag it against any edges because they'll puddle up right there. Always go away from towards the edges. Don't pull away from the edges. I'm going to rotate it around. I have a little bit down here. I don't have it globbed on. I can see there's a tiny bit of a dry piece in the middle. I don't want that. I don't want tons of glue. Too much glue will make your paper bubble. But make sure you have it good and glued on this corners and sides and everywhere. Okay, so again, that's my top. Don't forget that part. That's my top of the paper, and just place your paper down. Okay, that like attached immediately. Just smooth it out. And one thing I like to do with this is set it in upside down, flat, with a little bit of weight on it. Okay, so like that. I'm gonna set it there for a little while, and then I'm gonna put it in the heater to dry. So in the meantime, while that's drying, I'm going to start painting these pieces. So I'm looking at this floral and I really love the black in it. And I want to pull the black out because I think black is pretty generic and it can be used a lot. So I'm not painting any part of this main piece. Not going to paint it. I'm going to leave it just like it is. Not painting the edges. I'm not painting the edges of these either. So the floral, the top piece where the floral will attach, I am going to paint that because then it will kind of show through. You see it a little bit, so I do like that. Remember, you can take apart any part of this floral, use pieces, take them apart, pull stuff out, whatever you don't like, do like, add it in. If you like other things of floral that you have, look, almost all floral is made this same exact way. You can pull and attach different pieces and parts, which is kind of cool. Interchangeable again. So these are my top pieces. I'm painting both of them black. I'm using the paint directly from the starter kit. And so I'm using Raven, just a good solid black. Okay, there it is. Getting out another paintbrush, and again, I'm not gonna paint the sides. I'm gonna leave the sides because it'll go with the sides of the back. So, paint. Same thing with your painting as the Mod Podge. Don't pull your paintbrush against an edge. You'll have a blob of paint on the sides. Don't do that. Go away from it. Paint away, away. Brush right over that. Okay, got the black done. Now I'm going to take the white, or excuse me, the welcome word, and take, where is it? Hang on, I didn't get the right color out. Yeah, I'm gonna take alpaca from the starter kit. Just checking my colors here. I started with alpaca, and I think I'll continue with it. Just making sure they kind of go together. So I take alpaca paint and my paintbrush and I dab. Use the dabbing method. If you drag your paintbrush across these letters at all, it just creates big puddles. So don't drag it, just dab down from the top. Since I did a lighter color, I don't have to worry too much about the sides. If you do a darker color, you may have to paint the sides. If you do have to paint the sides, carefully just come in at an angle, but hold the pieces of wood, because you could hit it too hard and crack it. If you do hit it too hard and crack the welcome word, good thing is you're gluing it on a flat board, and so it can just be glued together. You don't have to worry about, like if you broke your E off or something like that, just glue it on the board as one piece. So I dabbed it all. I'm just going over it lightly with a dry, not dry brush, but it's not a preloaded brush at all. I've already offloaded all the paint. See some dry spots, but I'm just kind of lightly brushing it, so then I don't get puddles, but I get a not dabbed look. So there's the welcome word, painted in alpaca. Okay, while that is drying, I'm going to, I haven't stopped the video at all, so just in case you're wondering, this is all going in sequential order as you would be putting your project together. So you can do all these steps just like this and not have to stop. But I am going to hang mine on the door. So included with this is a 2 yards of burlap. So the way I'll hang it is by using burlap. You can, some people braid it, twist it, like create something, you know, to hang. I'm just using a single strand, and there's plenty of it. Do what you want with it, but this is how we're going to attach for a hanger. I don't want it to be too long. I don't want it to hang too far down, but this and this, maybe even a little less. So about right there. And the good thing about the back of your sign is it is symmetrical, so you can kind of use it as a measuring board and kind of attach your burlap piece in the same spot. So there's 2 screws provided. This is going to help us attach the burlap ribbon. If you feel like you can get it good enough with hot glue, then just hot glue it. But if not, place the screws in it. So I'm going to put just a 3-part fold in this. Actually, I'm gonna do it the other direction. Just like that. So I just folded it. And then I'm gonna put some glue right here on this point, that point right there, and this point, because that'll keep my ribbon centered. I'm gonna put this ribbon over it. This is burlap, the hot glue will come through. Lick your finger first, and you can press down. I'm gonna put a little more hot glue over the top of that. This is just literally holding that ribbon in place. Okay, so it's glued right there. I'm gonna lose my screws. And then I'm gonna do the 3-part fold on the other side. Put my dot in the same spot. Put the ribbon down and hold it. Put a little more hot glue. Again, choose to lick your finger or don't. You don't have to. That's what I do. I can lick my own fingers in my own house. It'll be okay. Then make sure you press that down. It's cooled, it's strong enough to hold already, but I worry. If you worry, then take the screws that we provided. The screwdriver that we did not provide, you'll have to find one yourself. Sometimes in projects we do provide them, but this one we did not. But just place a screw right there in the center. A good way to get a screw started, hammer it in first. Press hard and get it through and started. And go right through that burlap. Okay, there's your screw. That's never coming off. Not a chance. I don't care how hot your door gets, it's not gonna melt off. Hot glue is hot and it melts when it gets hot, so a door, it would melt. This is not gonna melt. This will just secure it perfectly. Does take a little bit of elbow grease. If you have a drill, feel free to use a drill. You don't have to sink the screws like, you know, completely. They won't come through, but just keep that in mind. So now, I think I do. Our piece will hang nicely. And that burlap isn't too much. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know if the video is tall enough, but our piece is not, the burlap isn't too obnoxious, intrusive of the design. The back still looks nice. If you want to cover up those screws, you can take a tiny piece of burlap, cut it, and put it over the top of that and hot glue it, and you'll never even know that those are there, and it's just that much more secure. There we go. Hidden, and it can just be your little secret. That's how you decided to get it to hang perfectly, because again, we have this pretty design on the back. You may see it and you want it to look nice. I understand. Okay, there it is. Covered up the screws. So our back is done. Now let's see if any of our painted pieces are done. Okay, this is my bottom piece, and remember I did write on the back top, so I know that's the top. I'm not going to attach the welcome word on wrong, but I did say I didn't want to paint the sides, and it's really hard. If you don't tape it off, then you're going to get paint on the sides, so I'm going to sand it off. If your door is going to get any type of weather, you can poly seal this with some sort of UV polyurethane, your choice, that you would like to use. There's my welcome word. Okay, and that will just attach with hot glue. It's not heavy, the welcome word. There shouldn't be any problems with it coming off due to heat or anything, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. If you do have concerns about that, maybe purchase some glue dots. That will help. When gluing these welcome or these kind of words down, don't run your hot glue tip all over the place. Wipe it first, because then you can avoid strings between all the yuckies. We don't want that. So just wipe the glue tip, the hot glue gun tip. Just wipe it with the piece of wood on the wood, just like this. So if you going along, wipe it, wipe that string off. And then you don't have to worry about strings coming on there. And I have hot glue, but we'll swipe that off. Okay, so I placed the welcome word. There's one little stringy dingy. Okay. It's placed. Okay, I have to hang this on this screw. And then I'm gonna walk around the other side and see if you can see it in the video, because I will keep adding pieces. You can! Okay, so I'm gonna build it as we go. So there it is. And this is my top. Get that hot glue I put on the back. Okay, attached. And it looks a little crooked. There we go. Okay, the top piece. Again, I'm gonna sand so I don't have this showing at the top. I don't really care about the middle because that is going up against that, but okay, so this piece gets the floral attached to it. And I did notice, yeah, I don't like the gold on the front of the gold zip tie on the front of the floral. So I'm gonna fix that. Again, crafting is all about solving problems, and that's why you feel successful. So I gave you plenty of burlap. So I'm taking a little piece of burlap and I'm just gonna wrap it around that. Just like that, okay? And then I'm gonna take my hot glue, and again, it's burlap. The glue will come through. In the privacy of your own safe home, lick your fingers and dab that hot glue and hold that piece on there. And look at that. Just a tiny little touch, just a tiny little addition. Changes it up. You can actually change the ribbon if you want to change the whole ribbon. If you don't like pieces of and parts of it, change it. That's the coolest part, is you can have the basics and then do what you want with it. So I'm gonna take this center piece, and I know that will touch the wood, so I'm gonna put a good amount of hot glue there and place it in the center and hold it down until it dries. I can't get my finger behind there to cool it, so I'm just gonna have to be patient, which I have no patience, but I'm just gonna have to be patient till I know that is set. Okay, so I can see back there, and I can get my finger in part of it, but I also want to double check and make sure other pieces get glued down as well in multiple spots, just to secure it. Maybe if you have like a really windy area that you're putting this, you might have to take like a staple gun and like staple down here in a couple pieces or areas behind everything to hold it. But if not, it should be totally fine. I can't plan boxes for everybody's situation, so I try and do the best we can do with as general as we can do it. So sometimes your situation might take some special doing. I know we get like 80-mile-an-hour winds out here, but my front door isn't in the wind, so you never know. Okay, that piece nice and attached, and again, top goes on the top. I'm loving it. Okay, last piece is my paper, and I do have a little bit of an edge that I'm showing, so I'm just taking my sanding block and running it along that edge. to kind of get rid of that extra paper there. So it'll sand that right off. You can do this with pictures. You can get pictures printed, decoupage it on wood. It's the coolest. Like, I love this being able to decoupage stuff because I just think it's cool. Like, it provides a frameless type of finish to photos and to things. So I'm just dragging my sanding block down the edge. You'll see little shards scrape off. Scrape those off. It sands it down a little bit. I kind of like that look. Okay. And I'm okay with the rest of the wrinkles in it. I got the major ones out just a little bit, but over time that moisture could suck all out of it and go away. If not, I don't mind. So I'm gonna take off this top piece, put on my center one, and then my top one over it, so the floral doesn't get stuck in between. And there you have it. Finished. And I think that was under like almost nearly maybe 35 minutes. So pretty darn good. So this is our finished project. The back is beautiful. The front is beautiful. And it's interchangeable. So maybe I should say keep your eye out for some changeable pieces coming up. So thanks for joining me for this month with your Seize the Door project. I hope you enjoy it and make it yours and get to reflect back and look at that piece and know that you got to make it for your own home and be so proud of it. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to join us in our VIP group on Facebook. At the bottom of the written instructions that were in your box, there's a link there. You'll see lots of people's projects that finished, get lots of inspiration, and get to interact with other Project Home DIY members. Hope to see you there and see you next month. Bye.